fellow travelers, welcome on in. This is the RPG Cave, level 141. That's a palindrome level, folks. I am one of your hosts, the level 199 human Dark Lord, Ryan Turford, and I am joined, as always, by the level 199 elf battle alchemist, Dr. Garret Bland. How's it going, Garret?
I'm doing good. Now, I have a question for you, Ryan. In these palindrome episodes, is there a twist to the dungeon in any way? No, it's just a normal level. It's not like, one of those weird things where the HP numbers are flipped or something like that, or they have double attack or
These are all good ideas for a real video game, Garret, but the RPG Cave is a very bland kind of cave. It doesn't really have a bunch of, twists and turns or unique gameplay mechanics.
It's very, very bland, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
See what I did
Got it. Well, no, that's good. We could just like destroy these monsters because we're still like 60 levels ahead. So
I was going to say, we're not, they haven't caught up yet, although we are, again, 9 levels away from 150. So, I mean, we're getting there.
Getting there.
Garret, I will also, before you get to your 3 things,
sure,
I want to celebrate the fact that the Florida Panthers have their second straight victory in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Edmonton Oilers. They're up 2-0 in the series.
How much do you get? 3 out of 5, or what's the?
It's best of 7.
Best of 7. Oh, okay.
So they got to win 2 more games to win the. But it's for the championship. This is the finals of the NHL at this point for the year. So.
NHL. So and it's against Oilers, right? Sean's team. Okay.
Sean's team. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Isn't it so weird that a hockey team from Florida is very good? Like,
not really, because actually the way that the NHL works, it's kind of interesting. We're not going to get bogged down too much into hockey talk, but they actually have like a salary cap in the NHL, which causes a lot of teams to be very well balanced against each other.
Got it.
It's not like, don't get me wrong, there are some disparities with like the teams that just don't make as much money because they just don't put as much money into their teams as the other ones. But for the most part, most of the teams are fair and balanced. So it's most times in the NHL, it's usually a crapshoot is like who's actually going to make it to the finals.
Okay.
That's why it's been since 1993 that we've had a team from Canada actually win the Stanley Cup.
Oh, only one team from Canada won the Stanley. Oh wow.
Well, okay. No. That was the last time we won.
It
was 1993. So.
Jeez, that's a long time ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been a very long time. People have been patiently waiting.
Well, people get hired in these teams, like and they're from all over the place.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Both the teams playing in the finals are players from other countries.
It's not like soccer where it's just terrible in the States and it's like on another level worldwide. It's just how it is. Okay. Cool.
Exactly.
Sounds good.
Please be excited. Also, Garret, an amazing announcement happened this morning. Hatsune Miku has come back to Magic the Gathering once again. She was here before, but she's back. She's back, baby. So,
wait. This is a second wave. Is that?
It is a second wave. 6 brand new cards to celebrate the summer now, because the last set was spring. Because they're doing one of these every season now, Garret.
Are they just gonna do this for all licensed stuff? It's just like here's a Magic card related to it.
Well, we just got spoilers for Assassin's Creed cards yesterday. So
I just find it so weird that you got the connection of Hatsune Miku and Magic the Gathering. It's not Hatsune Miku and Fortnite or something. Fortnite literally grabs everything. No, it's Magic the Gathering.
Well, Garret, I have a deck based around Dogmeat from Fallout.
That's awesome.
Like an enchantment and aura deck. And some of the Assassin's Creed cards and some of the Hatsune Miku cards and some of the Lord of the Rings cards all go well in that archetype. I've also got Tomb Raider cards in there. So I've got a deck I'm going to put some Hatsune Miku cards in my Dogmeat themed deck with Lara Croft and Frodo Baggins. It's going to be great.
That sounds like a legitimate nightmare. It just sounds like someone's head is about to explode. I feel like you want to confuse someone. That's like at a deck that you're just like, I'm going to confuse the heck out of my opponent with 7 franchises into Magic the Gathering.
I could have gone further, though, because there are the Legends cards, there's Fortnite cards. I could have gotten some of the Street Fighter characters.
Are they all legal in tournament?
Of course they are. Well, I mean, it depends on what format you're playing, because there's like a bajillion formats of Magic the Gathering. But
Got it.
In Commander specifically, the one that I always play, All these license wins are legal. You got, I've got, I could throw in Rick from The Walking Dead in there. It'd be great.
Sure, sounds good. Okay, 3 things. We'll bog it down to one thing. I just have a Game Pass update.
Okay.
Finished Botany Manor. Great game.
Okay.
Great little puzzle game. I started. Have you ever heard of the game Haunty?
No.
I forgot who it was made. It's an indie studio. It was a brand new game that just got released on Game Pass. It's a visual, I would say, 2D artsy adventure game where you're like collecting stars or whatever. It has a very cool art style or whatever. Played it for like maybe a couple hours or so. Had my fill. I was like, okay, this is good. This is fun. Very artistic. So if anyone out there likes, the style of games or whatever, this one's very beautiful. So go ahead and check it out. It's like Grease, but like more dark and not goth, but more just simple and emotional. Yeah, you're like this little black ghost that kind of goes everywhere and collects. You have to like go through light paths. You can't go into the darkness, because if you go into the darkness, the demons will get you. So yeah, you kind of just like go through this kind of maze or whatever. Okay. It's pretty cool and pretty creative. But stopped that for a little bit. I actually started up Humanity on Game Pass as well. Great little puzzle game going on. And then of course I'm still finishing up Prey. So there you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the game. That's Garrett's gaming update as well.
There you go. That's all the gaming.
The GGU. Soon to be a new staple every week.
Yeah, well, the Final Fantasy VII Classics on the horizon.
you haven't even gotten there yet.
I haven't even touched it yet. So, but we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there one day. But of course, this is the RPG Cave where we talk about RPGs all the time. So let's clear the dungeons so we get to the raid boss as quickly as possible. So folks at home, if you want to support the show, there's a number of amazing ways you can do that. Number one, if you're watching the live stream right now, or at youtube.com/carpoolgaming, or if you're watching the video on demand later, don't forget to hit that like button, roll a d20 to make sure you can attack that subscribe button, and let us know in the comments below what games you were excited about from Summer Game Fest 2024. We would love to hear from you. Also, if you're listening on audio feeds, don't forget to hit that subscribe button there. And also, rate us if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, if you want one big podcast feed with the entire Carpool Gaming cinematic universe on it, head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/carpoolgaming, just like Drellesh did, who's returned once again to the gold member tier. So shout out to Drellesh, who's returned, who's also in the chat tonight. So shout out to Drellesh, who's watching.
Hi, Drellesh.
It's like the morning for Drellesh over in Europe.
My goodness.
Also, the good sir for joining in on the ad-free all-in-one tier, which, by the way, shout out to the good sir, not only for putting in a very impressive list of games that they're excited about for tonight's show, but also for just hanging out all weekend, because
cool.
We, of course, did Summer Game Fest all weekend over on Twitch, where we watched all the showcases and we had post shows. Those are all up on the Patreon, by the way. And the good sir was hanging out with us the whole time. So it was
super
really,
cool.
Really cool. So shout out to the good sir for hanging out with us pretty much the entire weekend. So there you go. And for joining Patreon. Also, we have a website, carpoolgaming.com, which, by the way, Garrett, I don't know if you knew this. But
what?
On carpoolgaming.com, for limited time only, until the end of the month, we are currently still selling our Summer Game Fest merch. That, of course, the logo is designed by our very own Fee. So, of course, we've got it in sticker form here with poolside Bobby.
I love it.
Just hanging out here with his umbrella. We got this awesome mug.
Yeah, that's a cool mug.
It's white and blue. And by the way, we actually gave some of these away during the Twitch streams as well. So if you were there,
sweet.
I know a couple of people from the community won some of these.
Naga Chaka can totally rock that tank top. I can't wait for the photos.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he was telling me he ordered it. So
good. He's a great model.
Yeah,
I want this poolside one. That's the one I want. The blue's perfect. This sky blue.
Is it also because it's simple and clean? It's just got the poolside logo on
it? It's the summer shirt. It's that's a shirt I would wear with a swimsuit. Like, no joke. Yeah. Perfect.
And then, of course, we've got the shirt with the main logo as well. And this still comes in the sky blue if you want it.
Yeah, true. That's true.
Cool. So, carpoolgaming.com. If you want to go grab some merch, head on over there. Like I said, those will be available till the end of the month. So the time is limited. As Riley King points out, gonna sell it faster than the MGS3 Collector's Edition. That's actually not true. Those are all
for sure.
Those went up literally today, and they were sold out in 10 minutes across every website. So there you go.
What are you gonna do?
I got one. So
You did. Oh,
I did.
Good for you. Good for you, sir.
I freaking love Metal Gear, Garrett. So
Invest in it. Wait a couple years. You profit.
That is kind of how that works with a lot of these collector's editions. So I made sure to grab that one while I could. But anyways, Garrett, speaking of Summer Game Fest, it is now time for us to read from the sacred texts because it's time to talk about what we, Garrett and I, the RPG Cave, consider to be the best RPGs that we saw at Summer Game Fest 2024. We're going to kind of go through kind of like a curated list. We're not going to talk about every RPG at Summer Game Fest because, again, this is the best RPGs at Summer Game Fest.
So many.
Also, we would literally be here all day because
Yes.
I don't know, Garrett, if you watched any of the showcases from Saturday, but there were over 300 games shown on Saturday across the 4 press conferences that were on Saturday.
Yeah,
and there were a lot of
quite a bit.
RPGs. So we aren't going to go through all these. So.
I watched the Future Game Showcase and the Wholesome Direct. I also watched part of the Guerrilla Collective, all of Summer Games Fest, all of Xbox. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas I watched basically every showcase that happened over the last couple of days except for Guerrilla Collective. That was the only one I missed. But or I didn't watch the PC showcase either because it was like 3 hours long.
I haven't watched the PC Showcase either.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah,
For
because
the
I watched
nerds.
the Latin America Games Showcase, which was rad. Honestly, that was one of the best showcases the whole weekend.
Oh, really? Cool.
Xbox, of course, the Women-Led Games Showcase, Future Games Showcase, Summer Game Fest, Day of the Devs, Devolver.
Oh, I watched Day of the Devs as well. Yeah. Pretty
Day
cool.
of the Devs was really good this year, too. So, yeah, lots of good showcases. We're going to go through these. Also, for audio listeners, especially on the free feeds, this is important context. Because this episode will come out a bit later.
Yeah.
We are recording this on June 10th.
Yes.
Therefore, we will not have seen the gameplay trailer for Dragon Age The Veilguard, because that's coming out tomorrow. And we will not know the release date or see the gameplay showcase for Visions of Mana, which comes out on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's true. So a couple of heavy hitters there. Also, the imminent Nintendo Direct hasn't come by at all.
Yep.
They haven't graced us with Fire Emblem 4 Remake just yet,
Yep.
but it's coming.
Yeah, and also it's part of the reasons why tonight we're not going to go over our predictions for Summer Game Fest because we are going to wait until that Nintendo Direct is over before watch. Because we did of course include that in there because we knew it was going to happen this month.
I'm disappointed in one, but we'll save that conversation for later.
Yeah,
For sure.
So we'll just run through the list we've got here, kind of in order. Starting off with Dragon Age The Veilguard. It comes out this fall. And basically, all we got to see was the cinematic trailer at the Xbox event, basically just announcing, first off, the new trailer, or the new name, because it's not Dragon Age Dreadwolf anymore. It's now Dragon Age The Veilguard this time around.
So interesting.
Yeah, and they were just showing off like the new characters that you're going to get a chance to recruit to your party. Because I guess this kind of reminds me of Mass Effect 2 in a lot of ways, Garrett, where it's like you're trying to build like your little merry band of adventurers to go on this journey to hunt down Solus the Dreadwolf.
I see. So it used to be called Dreadwolf because you're hunting down this certain villain or something?
Solus, who is like... who was a party member in Dragon Age Inquisition.
Okay.
But spoiler alert, I guess, for Dragon Age Inquisition, he was not so good. So,
How dare you?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, that's why they had the Dreadwolf font and everything, and they initially had this as, okay, cool. And now it's called the Veilguard, and I guess, is the Veilguard really like this party or something?
Yeah, that's what the name of the party is called. It's called the Veilguard.
Okay. This tone of Dragon Age, it really... surprised me, actually. It looked a little bit more cartoonish, a little bit more... It literally felt Diablo 2 to Diablo 3. Yeah. No, it's like this is a little kiddier, a little bit more lighter tone, a little comedy to it. Where I would say before, of course, Inquisition is a little bit more down to earth, more serious tone. So I'm curious how the gameplay is going to go with this game for sure. Yeah.
Same. Like I was watching this showcase, and you brought that up perfectly, Garrett. I was watching this showcase with Dragon Age superfan Sean Capri, and we were both very, very surprised by the changes in look to this game, because it did look like a lot more cartoony. Like, because Dragon Age has always had this kind of like serious tone and look to it. And it wasn't true to life or anything like that. It wasn't trying to be photorealistic or anything like that, but it was much more in the direction of like a looking more like real life, kind of like Mass Effect in a lot of ways. Whereas this just felt like I was watching something like Fortnite, or not as cartoony as Fortnite, but like much more in that direction. And the tone almost felt like they were going for the tone of like the newest Dungeons and Dragons movie, Garrett. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I've seen a good chunk of that movie. Yeah, it was pretty fun. Yeah. It was like it's just comedy. It's just funny. Yeah. In general, yeah.
That's kind of the tone that I kind of got from the trailer too, where it's like you saw like the girl from the party like getting pulled into the portal by the tentacle, and she's got this funny look on her face as she has like her thing flash by her and stuff like that. Like it kind of had that tone to it in a lot of ways.
It gives me Fable vibes. Like no joke. Like a little it's just that lighter tone, which is not a bad thing. It's just I'm curious how the whole package is. I'm very curious about the game and see how it goes. And I read a little bit of Jason Schreier's story behind Dragon Age and what this project and what they wanted or whatever, and it sounds like there was a lot of ideas coming from that. Like you're more of a crew, you're more of a hub together, and you kind of go out and do expeditions or do contracts or whatever. I don't know. It was Inquisition a similar way, or is this a little bit more?
So you had a bunch of side quests in Inquisition, but you didn't have it wasn't structured in the way that you kind of worded here.
Okay. It's like more like here's a hub, and then let me prep. It's like Monster Hunter in a way. It's like you're kind of prepping, and then you're going out and doing a contract. So
right, yeah, because you had a hub area in Inquisition, but it was like. Again, it was not like that. Like you went to the hub area every time you wanted to kind of move the story along after going to the open world kind of.
Got it. Yeah. Sounds good.
In fact, Garrett, I forgot they actually put up like a sneak peek of gameplay. So I'm gonna share my screen.
Pop it in over there, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I saw a little bit of this. Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, so it's just them walking around in the city.
That's a game.
That's a game. Sure. Yes, gameplay confirmed.
You got a dwarf, you got a bow, you got some city going on.
But even with this kind of short look that we see here, like you can definitely tell it's a little like the tone. Like I said, it's a little bit different. Like even just looking at the sky, it's just very cartoony.
This is like World of Warcraft if it was third person action RPG. No joke. Like it has that kind of style. But
yeah,
cool.
And I'm also just interested to see the combat, Garrett, because you mentioned action RPG, but Dragon Age has never really been an action RPG. It's kind of been it's been more of the like you have the auto attack, and then you
got the auto attack, and then
you've got pause. Like schools on cooldowns. Closer to something almost like Xenoblade, or even going back to something like Knights of the Old Republic. Like it's much more of one of those games. So I'm curious to know if they make a change. Now there has been an action RPG in Dragon Age before, and that was Dragon Age 2. Went full action RPG. But fans did not like that, and they promptly went back to the old style with the third game. So I'm curious to see what they do here.
Me too.
I'm expecting it to be more like Inquisition, though, as far as the combat, but I guess we'll find out. So, like I said, tomorrow we'll get a chance to see more of that game from the time that we're recording this. So there you go. Please be excited. Well, Garrett, I want to make sure to put this one on the list for you.
Oh, heck yeah.
Starfield Shattered Space coming out fall 2024. Even I actually got kind of excited about this one, Garrett, because it looked like Starfield, but it was like it had some horror elements.
Definitely some horror elements to it for sure, man. I like it. It has this alien outside space, let's go wacky, type of vibe to it. I'm glad that they're doing this. Starfield was very, even though it was like outer space and there's a lot of different, I guess, aliens or stuff going on, it was very grounded. They really wanted to make sure like this was a realistic like direction of humanity, of going out into the stars. And it's like, hey, look at our ships, look at our civilizations. It kind of makes sense where humanity is going. But this part with if you know your lore, House of Rune, one of the hidden factions or civilizations in the Starfield universe, it obeys this weird spiritual snake-like creature, which we have no idea about in this. And it looks like they're really getting into it with this expansion. So I'm excited. This seems more, to be honest, it seems more of like a first-person horror survival kind of game rather than an RPG, a Bethesda RPG that we know. So yeah, I'm very curious how this is gonna go.
Yeah, and it actually really reminded me, Garrett, of a lot of Bethesda, like other Bethesda game expansions, because a lot of those expansions have always tried to do something different, tried to mix up the gameplay or add some different genres and stuff like that. Like, in a lot of ways, it kind of reminds me of Dawnguard from Skyrim, because that was totally in the horror direction. Very different tone from kind of the main quest from Skyrim.
For sure.
So that's kind of how I felt about this too. Or even like the outer space DLC from Fallout 3. So I also know, of course, that Bethesda always knocks it out of the park with their DLC expansions. So I think this one, it has all signs point to this actually being pretty good and pretty good. So I think this might be the time, Garrett, where I might go back to Starfield.
Maybe. I'm telling you, there were certainly some horror elements in main quest lines of Starfield I was surprised to see, like a little bit more of. Like, there's someone in there that loves Alien, or Alien versus Predator, like that general like cat and mouse game. They're into that, so yeah, I'm excited to see a little bit more. I'm excited that they actually put in a creation club too. With Starfield on Steam, and seeing what kind of mods are going to be added into it, and then we got some more updates with the game as well. Hey, Starfield's coming back prime time. I'm very excited for it. I definitely want to go back. I think when Shattered Space or around that time comes out.
I think that's going to be the best time. It almost kind of reminds me of what happened with Phantom Liberty with Cyberpunk as well. Like, I think this is the perfect catalyst to get people in now that there's been a bunch of updates and fixes to the game. Because I had talked about it before, my Starfield experience, between it having no maps and getting lost all the time, but also just it was very buggy for me when I played it at launch. Like, I know not everyone had the same problems with bugs as I did, but I had a lot of problems with bugs with Starfield, to the point where multiple times I lost multiple hours of game time because I lost the save reset, like it didn't save properly. So I mean, when it crashed. So I do think that with all that stuff kind of fixed up, by the time this expansion comes out, I think it's going to be a good time maybe to revisit it.
You do need to own the whatever the
expansion
pass.
pack.
Yeah, the premium edition. Yeah, including the expansion pack. So
yeah,
I'll have to grab that because it's not on Game Pass of any way. So
yeah,
but
whereas I picked it up because I was just like, yeah, I kind of want to play with everyone else. So I'll grab it because like I said, the track record for Bethesda Games Studios DLC has always been good. So I just expected whatever expansion we got for Starfield was going to be really good, so it was going to be worth picking it up. But yeah,
cool.
Also, I love Star Athena's comment. Imagine not loving Alien. I can't either. Star Athena. I'm also super excited, by the way. Sidetracked. Alien Romulus is coming out in August, and that movie looks awesome. So I'm very excited for it.
I'm excited for you, Ryan.
Thank you. Well, next up, sticking with Microsoft. In fact, basically these next couple are from Microsoft as well. Fable. We got an extended kind of gameplay showcase for Fable, but also a release year, 2025. I of course really like the old Fable games, so I am very, very stoked for the new Fable. I think it looks pretty cool. But what about you, Garrett?
I'm lukewarm about it. I'm not a big Fable fan. Every time I see a Fable trailer or whatever, I kind of grind my teeth. I'm just like, what is this kind of dumb British humor? That's just me though. Like I'm not. You're either really into it or you're just whatever, dude. Like you do your thing. But I'm intrigued. Of course, it's on Game Pass. I will try it out, see how it goes. But yeah, it's not going to be in the top of my head all the time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. If you're not into British humor at all, like if that's a turnoff for you, like this is not going to do you any favors. But I don't know. I really like the gameplay style of Fable, where of course you've got a great mixture of sword attacks and ranged attacks and magic attacks, and they're kind of assigned to like the 3 kind of face buttons, and also the choice based stuff, because I love just being super evil. Like I can't wait in Fable to go in and just murder an entire town and then take control of all of their buildings and then rent them out at insanely high prices and then get super rich.
That sounds like you.
Yeah.
It's just wow.
Exactly. You can be like so evil.
So you can be just like capitalism, American capitalism in general, right?
That is kind of how that works.
Okay,
That's kind of how
got
it
it.
works. And again, I'm not sure with this new one if they're going to, of course, bring back a lot of the old features. But at least I know that the choice based stuff's going to be back. And I just love playing as evil in games. But also, like, if you like playing as like a good heroic characters, there's a lot of great moments too in the Fable games as well. So for that, so yeah, I am very excited for Fable. Can't wait. Please be excited. 2025. I'm just glad to know when it's coming out, because I mean this was announced forever ago, and we finally at least have like a light at the end of the tunnel.
I remember last year we didn't give a date, and everyone's like, "Wait, what?" Like, there's not an exact date, but like there was just no
there's no year,
no time frame at all. But yeah, it's good to see 2025. I imagine the next time we'll see this as their Xbox development direct of some kind, maybe a deep dive into the gameplay. Yeah, that's what I'm more curious about, is the gameplay. And is that the default character? Like that's the character you will play as?
So in Fable, traditionally, there's never been a character creator.
Okay.
But you always have been able to choose a male or female character, and they always have like a base model. And then you can always get like if you want to customize your hair, for example, you can go to a barber shop in the game and like change your hair color and change your hairstyle and things like that. So there are usually customization options, but there's not like a character creator. So this will be what the default character looks like, and then you could probably be a male version of that character.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah. But next up, Garret, Avowed, once again back on the stage in almost like a clip show of all the things that you're going to kind of do in Avowed. But still no date, just 2024. But then, funnily enough, on the website, the Avowed website, they actually just put November 18th as the date by accident, until Wario64 tweeted out that he saw it on there with the screenshot of it and everything. And then as soon as he tweeted it out, they took it down. So,
oh man,
it might be coming out on November 18th. It might not. Who knows? It's Avowed. Please be excited. Did this, because again, we just saw kind of brief snippets of the gameplay and stuff like that, but didn't really learn too much more about it. But did this change the way you feel about it one way or the other?
No, not really. It was just like, hey, we're still here. It's still targeting 2024. That's what I see. Hold on, I'm trying to see if there was a, because I saw this date repeatedly. It was November 18th, you said?
Yeah, although I'm remembering from memory, maybe there's been a lot of information that's gone into my brain over the last couple days. So
it could be the 12th, but besides the point, I thought I heard in an interview, it's like, 2024 seems like we're aiming for it. Like that's it. It doesn't sound like though that's like 100% there, but they have a target date. November 12th. Okay.
Yeah, Riley King corrects us. So thank you, Riley.
But no, it looks good, man. Like it seems like a Outer Worlds in fantasy style RPG, and that's all I really need from Obsidian. So,
I know a lot of people are still like concerned because they don't know, they feel like we haven't been really told what the gameplay style is, but they've told us in multiple interviews, expect it to be like Outer Worlds, but fantasy, as far as the length of the game, the length of the main mission. Like they already ran on record and said the main quest is only going to be about 10 hours long. So
it's not going to be a long like a gratuitously long RPG or anything like that. There's
just going to be a lot to do in the open world, like just like Outer Worlds. It's going to be like that.
There was more info in their deep dive showcase with Xbox. I didn't watch it, but I hear that they announced you could do third-person mode with Avowed, which is super cool to hear. it looks just. I'm actually warming up to the combat more and more as I see more action of it. So I'm very excited for this game for sure. Yeah.
Also, Riley points out, and this is probably why I got confused, because we saw the Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater date pop up today, and it's November 17th. So it's 5 days later. But then that also got pulled down when Wario64 tweeted about it. So I'm just like, these games in November just don't know when they're coming out.
Dang, how does Warriors? Yeah, I bet he has a lot of people out there reaching to him.
That's usually how that works.
Yeah,
like, someone will reach out to him because it was actually like, it wasn't anything out of particular. It was GameStop in the States tweeted a tweet.
That's like the most obvious thing. Wow.
Metal Gear Solid, in the tweet, it had the date in it, November 17th.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that's funny because at Metal Gear when they showed it at Xbox. They showed a ton of gameplay, but they didn't announce a year or anything. So,
which was kind of crazy. Yeah, I remember that. I was like, wait, there's no time. Okay, sure. You're just gonna, showcase it a second time like that. It's just like, okay, all right, cool.
It's coming out at some point. It was kind of the gist we got from them at Xbox. But Garrett, a game that people were very excited to learn about for the first time, even though I guess this was announced a while ago, but it was like, I think it was known as like Project W before, so it didn't have an official name. But Expedition 33, this is coming out sometime in 2025. Kevin Ainsworth, I think, actually puts this succinctly here. Kevin Ainsworth says, Expedition 33 might not only be my most hyped RPG announcement, but also my most hyped game overall from this weekend. It looks absolutely amazing. So for those that mixed out on this one, this looks like a very like abstract art piece where you're going around exploring this world where there's this like this painter that's like painting people out of existence, kind of like Thanos snapping people out of existence in a lot of ways. But it's a turn-based role-playing game. But as your characters do a bunch of moves when you initiate an attack, as an example, you'll have a bunch of button presses as the attacks happen to deal extra damage. So oddly enough, we talked about how I was really missing Legend of Dragoon, Garrett, and this game looks like Legend of Dragoon with its combat, and I'm like, yes, please sign me up. This looks so cool. It's also a Game Pass game too, so it's just like. I am very excited like Kevin Ainsworth for this game. I think it looks awesome. But what about you?
Yeah. No, it looks super great. I actually was like feeling for the game. It's like, okay, this is a third-person action RPG. That's what I feel. But that's okay. Let's see how it goes. Let's see the world building or whatever. And I do love the cinematics of the game. And then they show the combat. I'm like, oh, yeah. It's not action RPG. It's you're doing turn-based stuff. It looks, it's like a Western developed RPG, but with the Persona or, as you said, Legend of Dragoon combat, turn-based combat, which it looks super dope. So I can't wait to learn more about this game. I'm curious what the story is, and as you said, it's very abstract. You got that. It almost reminds me of like it's just a nature-filled fantasy kind of game. And it looks like there's some inner struggles with some people in there, and so I'm just very curious how the story's going to go, and more importantly how that gameplay is going to be like. Yeah, looks super cool. Yeah,
it seems rad. Like I'm very excited to at least try this out, and like I said, it's one of those things where it's on Game Pass, so I think there's a like perfect incentive to at least try it, even if it doesn't turn out to be good.
And it's published by Kepler Interactive, and I think the studio's new.
They're a brand new studio. This is their first game.
Which is, it's crazy. And then I kind of read a little bit more about their developers, and they actually put bios of their favorite games, and it's just like all RPGs. And it's just like, that sounds about right. Like I saw Persona 4 Golden, Persona 3, Elden Ring. Stuff like that. So I was like, these are super dope people that love games. So can't wait.
Yeah, looks awesome. All right, moving on. A game we've talked about multiple times on the show finally has a release window and a brand new demo. Metal Slug Tactics coming out this fall, Garrett. I mean, I'm inclined to actually believe them this time because this isn't the first time they've put a year on this game. But with the demo out now, I'm like, I feel pretty confident that this game will actually come out this year. But did you see any more about this game? Because they released a new trailer for it, and it just looks really awesome, like a really good like tactical role playing game.
Yeah, I picked this up on Fantasy Critic for sure. I dropped a Fantasy Life I for it because I actually looked at the previous Fantasy Life. It didn't do so hot on the Metacritic scale. Yeah. So yeah, no, Metal Slug Tactics looks super dope. It just looks like Final Fantasy Tactics, but give it a Metal Slug, skin coating of it. It reminds me of Into the Breach a lot, and it looks super great. So yeah, I can't wait to play the demo. Actually, I have it downloaded on my Steam Deck, and can't wait to.
Yeah, same. I think the demo just came out either today or late last night, so like I just haven't had a chance to check it out yet. But I'm excited to play it for sure. And then next up, Garrett, this is one that people debate is a role playing game, but I am on the side that this is definitely a role playing game because they've come out and said that it's a role playing game. Assassin's Creed Shadows coming out November 12th. Of course, this is the newest Assassin's Creed game, and of course, I'm representing here because we watched the Ubisoft showcase today, so I'm still wearing my Assassin's Creed shirt.
Nice.
But Assassin's Creed Shadows takes place in feudal Japan, but it's made by Ubisoft Quebec, who made Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey, and they've talked about how it's in that style where it's meant to be a role playing game where you take on, Yosuke, who's like a historical figure, who's a samurai, but then also a fictional character named Naue, who's a ninja. And they've kind of, the two of them kind of team up to take down some feudal lords, and you're sneaking into buildings, and you're as Naue, you can like knock lights out and like sneak up on enemies like Splinter Cell style. And of course, Yosuke is like really powerful, and he's kind of like the battle heavy character. But it's definitely an RPG because you have, a ton of gear to collect. There's a bunch of different stats. There's the skill tree. There's everything that you actually have in a role playing game. There's choices to make and stuff too. So it has all the RPG things. It's not just, it's as much of an RPG as something like Mass Effect or Dragon Age is.
It looks cool. I probably won't get this day one. I rarely get Ubisoft games day one. That's just my I'm on a backlog of Ubisoft games in general. I have Far Cry 6 downloaded, ready to go to play on my Xbox. I have Assassin's Creed Valhalla to still go through. I don't know how much more I want to go through that. It's just whenever I'm in the mood for it. That's just it's just how I go with these games. Normally there's just so much content behind these things that it's like, okay, whenever I'm in the mood and want a podcast game, I kind of throw these on there and just kind of go through it. But this one looks cool. It actually, when I looked at it, I was like, I gotta finish Ghost of Tsushima. That's what it tells me. It screams at me. It's like, you finish Ghost of Tsushima first before you even touch this new Assassin's Creed game. It looks great though. I can't wait to learn more about the open world of this game, how it's connected to the Japanese history or whatever. It's it looks great, and how it blends together, because I'm really am missing that modern story of Assassin's Creed. It's like there's a dearth of that, but
it'll tie in. I just don't know how much it will be, because like in like the trilogy, like the assassin, like the trilogy of Odyssey, Origins, and Valhalla, it basically there were traces of it in there, and there was definitely like a storyline that went through all three of these games, and this time around they're kind of like resetting that storyline with some new characters, and that's kind of all we know.
Because I know Origins has a modern present story, but I don't think Odyssey and Valhalla does.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they did? Oh, okay. Well,
again, they had the same character, the same modern day character.
The same modern day character. I understand now. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm excited to play it again. I loved Origins and Odyssey. Valhalla, of course, I felt like it was a little too bloated.
There's a lot in that game, man.
And I think they've kind of learned their lesson with this one, because they did talk about the idea that this is going to be a smaller game than Valhalla. So.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So I'm not expecting it to take 70 hours to get through just the main campaign like Valhalla did. So, yeah. We'll see. I'm excited though, especially because like the time period too just really gets me. So
Yeah, definitely.
and also they came out and talked about the idea that this will be, for the time being, the last RPG Assassin's Creed game for a while. So because I guess the feedback out there from Assassin's Creed fans is they want it to go back to the old style, which I don't like as much.
I'm wondering if I doubt it as well, because we got through Mirage and people were very lukewarm about that game too. I think what they're gonna really do is some sort of live service platform that they've been mentioning.
Well, this is the first game in that live service platform.
Yeah, I see.
I think it's like, it's not Assassin's Creed Delta, but it's something stupid like that. Like it's
it's
like this big
Sandbox
platform that has like a bunch of Assassin's Creed games in it, and this is like the first in that series. Which is why they talked about the idea of this game not being as big as something like Valhalla, because it's not trying to trap you in one game, but it wants you to play a bunch of these games in like this platform of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. I'm curious where they go to next with this game. I just really doubt they let's just go back to the old style. I think they're gonna have to do something different.
Yeah, or at least I just hope that they vary up the Assassin's Creed games. Like I think that's the thing. Like I like the idea of them going back and forth between old school style Assassin's Creed and RPG style Assassin's Creed, and then maybe even doing something else. Like I think
then remaking them.
There's that too.
Give me Unity remake, you cowards.
No, they're never doing that because people hate that game.
I love that game.
Despite the fact that it's not that good, but
it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Fantastic. Sorry, that's just me bringing out my Dead Rising. Dead Rising dog.
Love it.
All right. Next up, we got a cinematic trailer for this, so we didn't get new gameplay, but we did get like some more information after the show.
Yes.
But Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred, this is the newest expansion for Diablo 4. It's coming out on October 8th. So the release date is brand new for this. They showed off a brand new trailer of kind of like one of the characters from Diablo 4 who is kind of holding on to the Soulstone of Mephisto, who's the Lord of Hatred. And he's basically just trying to get out. And I think like they're really teeing up that Mephisto is going to kind of be like the big bad for this particular expansion. But the main reason I wanted to mention here, Garrett, is that, you know, as divided as some of the fan base is about Diablo 4, the expansions for Diablo games, going all the way back to the first expansion for Diablo called Hellfire, have all been bangers. They've all been good. So, and have always been the point where even when the launch of a game has been, you know, tumultuous like Diablo 3, the expansion is always when that turns around. So, I have a lot of faith in Blizzard. Like they've earned that trust in me that this expansion's gonna be good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually went to Diablo 3 with Reaper of Souls. Yeah. The DLC, and I played that as kind of like a complete package from there, and that was super dope. I'm excited to see this. I have to ask Ryan, this is not part of Game Pass, though. This is an expansion, so we're going to do a little pay extra. It looks like there's a new class.
There is a new class. It's called like the Soul Warden, I think.
Spiritborn.
Yes, I knew it was something like that. But you're basically controlling spirits. It kind of reminds me of like the Witch Doctor from Diablo 3. In a lot of ways.
Yeah. It kind of looks like it. It looks like kind of a mix between weapon and magic. Yeah. Which I'm down for.
It's kind of like the Druid in that way, because the Druid was like a mix between, you know, meleeing and spellcasting. So, cool. Yeah, I think that's cool. So, yeah, I am very, very excited for this expansion. The only downside, Garrett, is this comes out the same day as Silent Hill 2, which is one of my
we won't play, right?
No, that is one of my personal most excited games of the year. I put out my list on X, Garrett, of my most anticipated games of the year.
Ryan, I'm sorry. It's by the Bloober team. We'll see how this goes.
I freaking love Silent Hill 2 so much, Garrett.
Enjoy your PS2, PS3 graphics there, buddy.
I don't mind even going back and playing Silent Hill 2 on the PS2, so I'm okay with that. I can deal with it.
I know.
But did you not? I mean, I was gonna say that when they released the 15-minute showcase not too long ago for Silent Hill 2 in 4K on the Konami website, it looks way better. But.
Okay, good. I'm glad that's I want it to be good. I want it to live up to your expectations and the fans' expectations.
Yeah.
But it's just been so weird seeing the Bloober team and Konami being weird, cagey about their responses to one another.
No, I know. And I'm not trying to get my hypes like up too high or anything like that.
Yeah.
And Riley King, of course, says, I hope Silent Hill is good, and I have doubts. And I do too. Again, it's Bloober team. I mean, there's a chance that it's not good, but like, I'm still excited to play it because I love Silent Hill 2. And even if, and I think it would actually be very hard to bungle up that story.
I understand. Yes.
And not only that, but the combat scene, look, from what I've seen of the game, the combat looks way more fun than the combat did in the original. So, I mean, if they keep the story intact and the combat's fun, like, I think it could be just as good as the original game.
Cool.
So,
I'm excited for you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Well, speaking of being excited for me, I know this one doesn't interest Garret at all, but I have to at least mention it here. World of Warcraft: The War Within also got another a cinematic trailer with the release date, August 26th. That's 2 months from now. So we have Dawn Trail at the end of the month, Garret, for Final Fantasy 14, and then new World of Warcraft expansion basically a month and a half later. So it's going to be an interesting time for MMO fans. Maybe I don't need to play any other games, Garret. Maybe I just play these two games, and that's just what I play the rest of the year. But this expansion looks really cool. It's kind of setting up a new trilogy of shorter expansions, like expansions that just don't take that aren't around as long, like are shorter to play through, but then also so they can kind of crank them out pretty quickly. That are kind of like wrapping up the World of Warcraft story, going all the way back to 2004's World of Warcraft. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of wrap the story with this kind of big climactic conclusion. But this is kind of the first in that trilogy. So I am very excited about this. There's no new classes or anything like that. There's some new races you can play as, but besides that, same classes as before, but new worlds to explore and stuff like that. And I am excited to go back to World of Warcraft and play it.
I'm excited for you, Ryan. And
Thank
that's where we'll leave it. It looked like a cool trailer. I had no idea what's going on, but it looked cool. So yeah. Good for you, WoW fans.
Well, thank you. So this next game actually came up during in fact, a couple of these right here all came up during the Latin America Games Showcase, Garret, which I had watched for the first time this year. I had never seen it. And that showcase was a banger. There were a lot of good games, not a lot of RPGs in particular, but some of the RPGs that we're going to talk about here looked really cool, starting with this one that I wanted to bring up because it's got this really cool style to it. So this is Prisma. This is the new game from the creators of Crease Tales, which is a game that we've talked about on the show where neither one of us were like super impressed with that game, but it had a lot of promise and had a lot of good ideas, I think. But this game looks really awesome. It's got this like comic book style. You play these characters that are almost like that they love using their cameras to take pictures of stuff. But then they gain different abilities through like the different cameras that they have. And it just has like this really cool looking style to it. It's got some dope music as well. The music in this trailer is also really good, which we're not kind of listening to now. So this is a game that like I have hopes can actually be good.
I saw that trailer and I'm like, that's Persona. That's Persona. That's like it,
100%.
It wants that style. It really wants that style. So yeah, no, I'm curious how this game goes, man. It definitely has that punk, flashy art style. I love the drawings. I love the art style from these developers. And I like the angle with the cameras and taking pictures, and it does look like very similar to Chris Tales, where it's like a turn-based kind of game, where you're kind of like, split between left and right or whatever. But yeah, I think more for me, it's just like, how is the game gonna do? Because like really with Chris Tales, I was very curious about this game, and I even played the demo, and I was amped up after the demo. I just think when I was playing through it, a lot of the mechanics just fell through as I was playing. Like I was like probably 3 or 4 hours in. I'm like, oh, they should have checked this one. Like this mechanic's a little too off. It was mainly the dimension stuff where you kind of had to split your screen into different like
the
different
past,
visions.
present, and future. That's how it was.
That's what it was. Yes, you're correct. Yeah, past, present, future. It just didn't work out so well in the game.
Like it seemed promising in the demo, but like it didn't feel like a feature that was really meant for like a long stretch of gameplay.
Right.
Whereas, and something like this again is it seems like it's more simple. Like it's not
straightforward,
going over the top and straightforward. And I hope and feel like they're not going to have the same problem with this one.
Yeah,
which is good. So it shouldn't be super overly complex, which I think is a good thing. So, but we have a long time to wait for this one, Garrett. It's not coming out until Q1 2026. So it's like a year and a half away. Because this was like the announcement that the game is even coming out at all. But I do think like there's reason to pay attention to this game. So I'm excited to at least check it out. But next up is a game that I know the Good Sir has in their list that we're going to get to in a little bit. This one's called Sacrifice, Garrett. I don't know if you've seen this game, but this popped up not only at the Future Games Showcase, but also at the Latin American Game Showcase as well. And this one is a role-playing game that kind of reminds me of Indivisible in a lot of ways. First of all, if you're watching the trailer with us live, it almost looks like it's going for that HD 2D look, but not quite as pixely as HD 2D. But then it's got a lot of like mixing of like platforming and Metroidvania elements, but then also like turn-based combat when you run into enemies, very similar to Indivisible or Valkyrie Profile. So this game kind of looks rad, and I'm pretty excited about this one, Garrett.
Yeah.
But what do you think about this?
No, it looks good. Actually, Donnie pinged me with this trailer, and I'm still a little bit curious about what the gameplay is. It seems like it's action. It's an action RPG.
Yeah, you're
right.
You were correct me. Like, this is probably it actually kind of reminds me of Star Ocean, the second story.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it seems like you're not really going into battle. It's like enemies are kind of just blending in into like you're not gonna, you're in a battlefield and you're gonna attack each other. It's more like, okay, I'm in this wilderness. Oh, there's this monster. Okay, let's attack it. It's that type of vibe with it.
Yeah, because that reminds me of Indivisible, where Indivisible was a Metroidvania, and as you'd see the enemies in the open world, if you ran into them, it then like did a transition, and then it was into a battle screen, like a separate battle screen. So
was this? I think this is on. Is it on Kickstarter?
I believe so. It's still TDB. So as far as the release date, like we don't have any information. It's on Twitter. It's on Steam. Actually, I don't think this one's on Kickstarter. I'm not seeing a Kickstarter for this. Or if there was a Kickstarter, it already happened.
Yeah. Well, it's on Steam. So it's coming. Cool.
Yeah. It looks rad. I'm interested in that one. Well, speaking of rad role-playing games, this actually made my top 10 list for the rest of the year, because I'm very excited about this one. And this one we've known about for a little while, but it got a brand new trailer this weekend. This is for Keylocker. This is a cyberpunk style, like turn-based role-playing game.
Oh, man.
But it's got rhythm elements to it. Like there's rhythm-based combat. And
you just killed me.
Yeah, you've got like you got this female character, and you've also got this jukebox as like one of your compatriots, and then you get like a male character later. And it almost reminds me of like a Sega CD or a Sega Saturn role-playing game in a lot of ways, but it's got this like really cool art style, and the music, again, we're not listening to the music now, but the music in this is actually pretty rad. And the combat just looks really fun. And I love rhythm games too, so it looks like it has a lot of rhythm game elements as well. And the art, Garrett, might remind you of like Transistor or something like that too.
It does. I like the art style for sure. It very it looks cyberpunk-esque, and then there's the rhythm right there.
Yeah, because there's also like different classes your characters can equip as well, and they have different abilities, and some of them are more rhythm-based than others. And I think you can change them on the fly. They kind of showed that off a little bit. And there's also a demo available at this, but again, I think it just got released over the weekend, and I haven't had a chance to check it out with all the streaming that we did.
Okay. I'll check it out. It looks cool.
Yeah, the demo's only available on PC, but this is coming out to everything this summer, so it's coming out very soon as well.
Cool.
So should have it out pretty soon. So yeah, you look out for Keylocker, a cyberpunk rhythm RPG is what it's called, like the full title. And then the last one, Garrett, that you wanted to highlight here that I actually didn't know anything about. until our conversation tonight, simply because this was at the Guerrilla Games showcase, and I just didn't have a chance to watch that. So tell me about Demon School.
Demon School is a turn-based RPG that's very reminiscent of the classic Persona games, actually Persona 1 and 2. You got these characters, they have their own kind of relationship or whatever, but and you kind of go through school a little bit with this game, but yeah, it's tactics party-based RPG, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It looks super dope.
Yeah.
Has that Persona influence with it for sure. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say. It was initially announced way earlier, though. I forgot where I saw it, but I remember seeing this game. I'm like, oh, I got to pay attention to what this game is all about. And,
yeah, because I guess this is the newest trailer that we're watching right now, and this is like the Boss Mechanics trailer. But there's a bunch of other trailers as well. Because again, this game has been around for a while. But like I said, neither of us didn't really knew that this was a thing. So. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, it was cool to see just so many cool and interesting indie RPGs this year in particular.
Yeah, in the Summer Games Fest, there really wasn't much, oh, here's a great new RPG, type of deal. There was Monster Hunter Wilds, and that's pretty much it, like with the RPGs. There wasn't really to note. And then Xbox, of course, has its own slate of RPGs and day one Game Pass RPGs, which is great to see. But I agree with you. There's kind of a dearth of here's a cool new third party RPG that's coming out. It's more the indie space that's really shown its light in all of these smaller showcases that I'm particularly excited about. So yeah. Same. Can't wait to see more.
Yeah, for sure. So that was kind of our list of the games that we were excited about. Garrett, was there anything else that we missed that you wanted to bring up before we move on?
There was one. Okay, this is the game I was thinking of that blew out of the water with Kickstarting funding. It's called Alzara Radiant Echoes. Alzara Radiant Echoes. It's like a 3D based turn-based RPG. 3D turn-based RPG. And it's like high fantasy, and it looks super dope. I forgot which direct it was in, but yeah, here's the trailer right here. It's like high fantasy, get a party together, and it's one of those typical I'm going on an adventure with my party. So there you go. Yeah, I love the art style with this game a lot.
Yeah, this looks pretty cool. This is another game I hadn't heard of. So. Because I guess it was not at one of the showcases I saw. Maybe it was at the Gorilla showcase then. Maybe.
It's getting kickstarted right now, so
okay.
it already funded its goal for the game. I think it's like $30 USD or something like that for the digital copy promise. But it won't come out till at least set a time frame of 2026. So I can imagine being a little later than that. So it's still very early stage, but you can tell that they have a lot to showcase with this trailer. So,
yep. Well, especially if they're just doing the Kickstarter now, whenever that happens, they're always at least a year and a half to 2 years away. So, yeah, it looks cool. I'm definitely gonna have to put that one on my radar. But Garrett, it's time to now hear from the NPCs, the non-podcast characters. We're gonna start with the good sir I mentioned earlier, who says, "Hello, my fellow adventurers. Summer Game Fest weekend was a crazy and exciting ride. I added so many games to my wish list. Some of these showcases, like the Wholesome Direct and the Guerrilla Collective, were absolute hype machines for me. As far as RPGs specifically, I will once again focus on the indie side of things, as it's my first love in gaming. I have too many to list, so here are my top 5 in order, starting with Demon School, like you said, 2D tactic-style horror RPG in the vein of Persona. Yes, please. We've also got Dungeons of Hinterberg. What if a dungeon crawling RPG was turned into a tourist attraction town? This game looked really weird and interesting. Escape from Ever After, Paper Mario inspired, lots of humor and beautiful paper art. Pedal Runner, a wholesome slice of life story about growing up and letting go. They're definitely sold. Sacrifier, which we talked about, classic JRPG that I backed on Kickstarter. Absolutely gorgeous art style. And then also shout out to the funniest tile I saw all weekend, the remake of the end of the greatest RPG of all time. which I did not see. But that's apparently the real typo of a real game, Garrett.
I love it. The remake of the end of the greatest RPG of all time.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Seems like a cool list, the good sir. Seems like a cool list. But, anyways, moving on. We got Matt, aka Nagachaka, who says, although Nier 3 wasn't announced, I am very hyped for Avowed from Obsidian and for Fable, which will be my very first Fable game. When I do play Fable in 2025, do you have any advice for first-timer players like me? So, Garrett, do you have... I
No.
can't even say this with a straight face. I don't think you have any advice for
I have like
Nagachaka.
a 0 advice, like just absolutely nothing to give to you. Just play the game and
Nah, my advice is just have fun with it.
have fun.
It's like Fable has just always been a very silly game. And I mean, the tutorial hopefully will at least be easier than Forza Horizon 5's, because this is made by Playground Games, and of course, Nagachaka famously had trouble with the trial or the tutorial from Forza Horizon 5.
Why do you have trouble? It's just like you press a button and you go.
Look, man, he couldn't get past it, and he was having trouble with it. Okay.
It's
the
a
whole story.
racing game. Okay, all right.
But this is made by Playground, the same developers. So,
Sure.
no, but I think, Playground, don't expect it to be super serious or anything like that. Like, Fable's always been kind of like a tongue-in-cheeky kind of very funny game with, British style humor. So just go into it just expecting to just have fun with it and not to have a super serious time. And I think you'll have a blast. So,
Go.
yeah. And then Drellesh asks us the final question of the show. Drellesh asks, greetings, Ryan and Dr. Bland. My question is on a game that's still to be shown at the time of recording, Dragon Age the Veilguard. What are your expectations and what are the chances of it being great? So we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I think we're both on like the higher side. We're expecting this game to probably be pretty good.
Yeah, I hope it's good. I can't imagine it not being good. I can see it not being great. But if it turned out to be not like let's say it comes out, the reviews are like 6s and maybe occasional 7s here and there, I would be like, I'm a little bit worried about BioWare at this point. But yeah, that's where my head's at. It's just like, this game better be good to great.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's gonna be like no lower than the 7s range, barring it being very buggy. So that's just how I feel going into it. It's tough though. It's just tough for us to make this predictions about how we the chances of it being great without seeing the gameplay. I think because that's I think that's where a lot of this is gonna hinge.
Sure.
And the story even, because we just, other than the fact that we know we're getting like a merry band of characters together, we really don't know anything about the story in this game either. So I think there's just there's too many questions at this point for this. But Drellesh also asks, do either of you have Dragon Age history? So I've played all the games, all 3 Dragon Age games, and I like them a lot.
Good.
So
Good for you.
yeah. Well, la-dee-da, Garrett.
La-dee-da. La-dee-da. I actually, I played through Dragon Age Origins a few years ago. I have not touched 2, and I've played a good chunk of Inquisition, like maybe 10 hours or so. I didn't particularly go deep into it. But I love Origins a lot. It's a great game.
Yeah. Yeah, Origin's fantastic. Like, easily the best of the 3. For sure. Next up, what is the best way to catch up? Any particular YouTube channel to watch? I don't have an answer for this, unfortunately, Drellesh, as far as a YouTube channel to use to catch up on this, simply because I just didn't have a chance to research this. I mean, for me, I would just play the games if you have time. But if you have to go to a YouTube channel, I'm sure there's lots of good ones out there. I know IGN will probably put like the Dragon Age story in 15 minutes kind of thing when we get closer to launch, and they're always usually really good with those. But I'm also just the type of person that goes to YouTube, Garrett, and watches like recaps for games.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Play Dragon Age Origins. That's all you really need.
Yeah, there's
Pretty
that too.
much.
And I mean, there's going to be stuff that carries over story-wise from the previous Dragon Age games. In fact, I think there were some talks, because I think Shinobi pointed this out because they had a chance to play the game, that you'll be able to make in the character creator your Inquisitor from Dragon Age Inquisition, and then make key choices that then affect the story in this one.
Jeez, that game came out 10 years ago, and they still have some sort of connection with it.
Well, fun fact, Garrett, if you boot up Dragon Age Inquisition now, it connects to Dragon Age Keep, which is still a website that still exists. That is a website that allows you to go and make your choices from the first 2 Dragon Age games, and then it brings those choices into Dragon Age 3. And they might, I wouldn't be surprised if they had Dragon Age Keep support for this one, where you brought in all your choices from all 3 games.
Yeah.
So
that'd be cool.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And Josh chimes in the chat. I've played all of them, but didn't finish them, so I need to be refreshed on what happened. And like I said, I just think we're probably not the people to ask as far as to like what
replay Origins. That's what I say.
Yeah. I mean, if you have time, replay the games. But if you don't, like I said, I think there's some good channels out there, but we just aren't the type of people that go watch.
I think they know a lot of people going into this fresh. Like it's gonna be a brand new game for most people, so I feel like it's going to be very approachable.
I think there's going to be a recap in this.
There's going to be a recap.
All the stuff you're going to need to know. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure they're going to do that. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. And like I said, the one I would always recommend if as like the choice if you don't know where to go, IGN doing the like Dragon Age story in 15 minutes, like maybe 5 minutes, like they'll do that a month before the game comes out is usually my go-to if I need it. But last question from Josh. How hyped are you for the game? Of course, on a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being not so hyped and 10 being gushing. I'm at a 7. I'm cautiously optimistic. Like I'm like, I want this to be good, and I'm excited just to have a new game from BioWare that's not Anthem. That's all. That's where there's like, some level of excitement for me that is unwarranted, because I'm just excited because I just want to see a new game from BioWare. So that plays into this a little bit.
I get it. I gotta be at a. I was thinking 5, but I will go at 6 only because I am curious about the gameplay. I'm looking forward to this game, looking good. I want it to be good. So I'll give it a 6. I don't know if I'll be day 1 purchase though.
Okay.
It's these days, Ryan. It's very hard for me to do a day 1 purchase. I gotta be sold. Yeah. I gotta be like, okay, you got me in the mindset. I will invest in you day 1. It's a very rare thing to get behind at this point.
And it'd be different if it was on like Game Pass or something like that, because you'd probably feel very differently about it.
Exactly.
It is, right. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously it's on like the EA Play Premium for PC, but none of us really have that. Come on, let's be real.
Well, it's so funny because I just wait for the EA games to come to Game Pass and
there's that too.
The EA Play whatever subscription, and then I'm good to go. Like I just got the Star Wars Jedi Survivor like a month ago or something. I was like, hey, it's on the vault now. I'm like, fantastic. I'll just download it whenever I can and play through it because I am a huge Star Wars fan, and I was just literally waiting for this to drop by. So yeah, that's just how I am purely a waiting game person at this point with games, which I'm fine with doing.
Yeah, for sure. Again, you play games at your own pace. That's the main thing. Whereas, going to the chat, Riley King says, I'm an 8 after that 5-second clip that we showed a little bit earlier in the episode. Because, I think that gameplay clip actually looked pretty cool. But
it looks good.
Yeah. And Drellesh is at a 4. So there you go. And Yon32 agrees with you, Garrett. I think
6.
The same rating at a 6.
It's a good one.
Yep. And then, of course, Rybo asks us to get rated on the scale of 0 to various day life.
You're going negative, Rybo. This is not a negative scale here. We can't go to negative infinity on this one. So sorry.
But I thought we liked various day life.
No, that those 2 words together compounded in that way is banned. Like it should not exist. What does that mean? Various day life.
Look, it's just different styles of day life, Garrett. It's fine. Look, it's fine. Also, I love the fact too that Octopath Traveler 1 and Octopath Traveler 2, of course, came to other platforms this week, Garrett, and none of them were bundled with various day life because they knew better.
There we go. That was a blessing. No joke.
Because obviously it is on PC, but not on consoles. They knew
It's on mobile. It was first on mobile.
Yeah.
Various day life. So there you go.
Oh my God. Yon32 says the cheek scale is in the negative. 100%. Negative cheeks.
Yeah.
All right, Garrett. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the RPG Cave. But before we go, I need to go over here because I forgot to update the newest patrons over at Patreon.
Oh, okay. Well, let me. You know what? I got another game that was in my head. It's called Flintlock.
Oh yes, the one from the Xbox showcase. Yeah.
Yeah, Siege of Dawn. It looked pretty cool. It looked like they say Souls-Light. So it's a Souls-Light action RPG. We're making stuff words now, but there you go. It's day one Game Pass as well. It's coming later. I don't know if it's this month or next month, but pretty soon.
Yeah, I think it's July 21st, I think.
Yeah, and so it's very soon. I'll try it out. I'll play this game. Also,
Oh, July 18th.
July 18th.
I'm bad with dates today.
I mean, you're like 3 days off. I think that's a gift. So, yeah.
Yes.
Day one Game Pass.
I've been ruined because there was this one game during the Latin Games Showcase that had this song playing, and it was this like Crash Bandicoot style game, but the song that was playing was like about math, and I'm like, why? What is going on here? And it was just like this very like kiddie song about math, while this Bandicoot kind of character was like platforming and stuff like that, and we were just like, what's going on here? Why is this hurting my brain? Because it's about math.
It's kind of crazy. Flintlock and also Expeditions 33 or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
They're both published by Kepler Interactive, so they're
making
cooking
moves
over there. Yeah,
good games. All right, now we got our patrons over at patreon.com/Carpool Gaming, starting with our ultimate producers, Jonathan Brown, the man behind the music on the Xbox Drive and the PlayStation Drive. You can find all of his music over at Purple Monkey Entertainment at the link tree, linktr.ee/PME/JIB. And Cwagmire, who humbly reminds you that the best babes are in fact Xenobabes. All links to all of our ultimate producers can always be found in the description of this podcast. Our platinum producers, Robby Bobby Miller, Tim Paullin, Smokin Joe, and Toxic. And our gold members, Adam K., Anna, Awesome Dave 1337, BobLoblaw, Brad Moore, Brian Reese, Cecily Carrozza, CowboyDangerD, CrocoKyle, Dan and Luma, Dannohh, Drellesh, Emily O'Kelly, Hoppel, Yon32, Patrice Mallette, Peje P, Samuel Nessling, Shane Erickson, Tech Mike, and Tim Aulph. Huge thank you once again to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/Carpool Gaming. And now, Garrett Plugs go.
You can find me at Twitter at Blind Explosion. You can also find me in the Discord. I am reading all your messages, just like you, the good sir, who responded to Ryan's question. And I have to compliment the formatting of this response. It has the game names as bolded and italicized, and you got the bullet points down below. I see you, the good sir, very organized. I very much enjoy that. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice. As for me, you can find me on the old Twitter, aka X, at Ryan Turford. You can also find us on X at Carpool Gaming. I also want to promote our Twitch page, twitch.tv/Carpool Gaming Live. If you want to see any of our reactions to any of our showcases, we didn't put those up on YouTube. They are on the Twitch channel. Go to twitch.tv/Carpool Gaming Live and check out our reactions there. We have all of the post shows as well over on Patreon as well. So make sure to check those out as well, because I was on literally every single one of them.
Nice.
Because I was there the whole weekend. Also, you can find us right here, youtube.com/Carpool Gaming. Of course, podcast services around the globe. So for Garrett Bland, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been RPG Cave level 141. That's a palindrome level, folks. And we're out.
Bye-bye. See you 151.